Hello and welcome back to Tesori Home. Today we are bringing you episode 7 in our Design Within Reach series. This is a series where we share everyday people's homes with you to show you that you can create a home you love within your means, no matter what budget you have. Today we are touring Brodie Jenkins' home. You might know her on Instagram as Enchanted Berkeley. Brodie's home is truly one of the most unique homes I've ever seen. It's so beautiful and special, and so I'm so excited to share a deeper look into her home with you. She's been featured in publications like Vogue and Domino and McGee & Co. and so much more, and for good reason. So let's go and see what Brodie is up to.
Hi guys!
Hey Brodie! Thanks for welcoming us in.
Oh my God, you guys are so welcome. Come
Oh my
on.
gosh, thank you. A real life fairy tale home. Like outside, it truly feels like straight out of a storybook.
Thank you.
What does it feel like living in this home for you?
Well, I felt like when I first saw it, before we bought it, and we were so lucky to get it, like coming down the steps, like I had this visceral reaction where I was like, thinking about all the kids' books that I used to read, and I was very into like the fantasy of the castle and Ina Spitz like Enchanted Castle, and I capture the castle where she's in a crumbling ruin. Like I could totally live in a crumbling ruin. But I saw it and I was just like, please let this be mine. And then on the inside, I felt like it didn't match as well, and so that was a huge part of the design, was kind of tying in, almost going back in time with the design, instead of, trying to keep it modern, trying to make the inside match the magical fairy tale French Norman style of the outside. Yeah. So this area was closed off. There was a hallway. So when you came from the stairs, you would run into a wall. And there was a little door here, and then basically this was all closed off in like a little pantry, and the fridge was here. And so one of the things I really wanted to do was, when we're cooking, like allow the person who's standing here to see the gorgeous bay views and talk to who's ever in the dining room. Yeah. And so we did add this arch just as like a mirror of the rest of the arches in the house to kind of make that all feel really cohesive.
It's beautiful.
And then we basically redid the whole design of the kitchen cabinets, took them all out. It was very like 90s cool. It was like it had definitely oranged over time. The countertops were green. The previous owners, who were really wonderful and quirky and had grown kids, but I think they'd done this design when their kids were small. They had a fire pole right here.
My goodness.
That went all the way up, and I think whoever was sleeping there could slide down the fire pole and come to the kitchen, which I thought was amazing. But we didn't have kids yet. It didn't really make sense to leave it. It really kind of just like everyone that came in was like, oh, fire pole. So I had to take it down, and our general contractor actually put it in their kids' treehouse. So
that's cute.
It had a second life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
There's kind of like the two sides of it, which is one, what's the function, and like how are you going to live? And it's one of my favorite parts of design is like, in this case it was for myself, but like figuring out, knowing the way that we live and the way that we like to interact, and we're very relaxed, and everyone's kind of eating everywhere, and someone's drinking a glass of wine while someone's cooking. I wanted that flow to exist, and so that was part of the reason why we opened up the dining room, because I just really felt like we don't do formal dinners hardly ever. Let's just keep it flowing. And then the other side of it is like, what is going on with the architecture, what style of house, and since this house is a French Norman 1925 or 1920s era house, I wanted the design to represent that and reflect that and feel like you were coming in to an extension of that exterior.
Well, you've done that so well. And I don't even know if I mentioned this, but Brody is an interior designer. She's in the Bay Area.
Thanks to you guys. I started doing this. It was just for myself. I just wanted to design this for myself. And then I started having people reach out and saying, can you do my house?
Amazing.
And between that, finding my architectural designer and finally getting an LLC and doing the whole deal. Now I can officially call myself an interior designer.
That's incredible.
It's so funny thinking about the trajectory because I really did not expect to end up doing this. My dad is a builder, he's an architect, so I grew up going, like every time we went anywhere, he was like, oh, there's an open house, let's go. And so as a child, it was like an adventure and amazing and fun to go into cool open houses, and I feel like he would always talk out loud about the cool details. We grew up in an old 1910 farmhouse in Sonoma County on a vineyard, and so that was like its own level of charm and cozy. My parents definitely were very into the kind of cozy Sonoma County, like wine country look. But also my mom was very like whimsical. I grew up on lots of Jane Austen. We're big readers, and so there was like Victoria magazines all over my, I remember like paging through those Victoria magazines, and they're so magical. And additionally, my mom is an artist, and she used to like do our talent show and make these huge sets for the talent show for like 10 years, since we were really, really little until we basically graduated to high school. And so it's been interesting to think back about how all of those things, I think when you're looking at a house, it's almost like, thinking of like a real life set, like where are people going to live? Where are people going to flow through this house? How do we, match the tone of the house and make it feel really magical? So I think all of those things fed into me doing this. It makes sense to me now that I think about it, but at the time I was like, whoa, how did this happen?
Yeah, because all those seeds were being planted without you even knowing it.
Yeah.
And I see your eyes light up when you talk about your childhood and your mom and the magazines, and seeing that now reflected here is probably full circle. Do you want to create a beautiful home you love, but don't know exactly where to start? Maybe you feel limited by your budget, or perhaps you haven't quite discovered what your style is yet. Or maybe you just need that extra push to kickstart those home projects you've been putting off. If any of this sounds like you, we have created a membership community designed to help you grow and thrive in your home. In our community, we will help you refine your eye for design through our monthly live calls with industry experts, where you'll get to ask interior designers, stylists, and more your own questions in real time. You'll have access to design courses created to help you discover your style and teach you how to implement it in your home, along with exclusive content like extended cuts from our Design Within Reach series. Not only that, but you'll get to participate in monthly giveaway challenges designed to help you grow in your design, hosting, and hospitality skills. Get closer to the homes and people you love. Become the hostess you've always hoped you'd be. Take your dream home out of your imagination and make it your reality, all while having so much fun along the way. If you're ready to transform your home and start living beautifully and intentionally, now is your chance. Don't put it off any longer. Click the link in the description down below to learn more and join our community today. We cannot wait to meet you. Now back to today's video. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the kitchen design and moments in here that were very intentional for you?
I think one of my favorite things that maybe isn't like immediately noticed, like the thing you don't immediately notice, are these floors.
I mean, I definitely immediately noticed that because I'm a floor girl, but
yeah, so I knew I was pretty adamant, and like I wanted an old stone floor. Like I wanted it to be durable and last. I love these floors because we've lived here 5 years, and you really, like they just hide dirt. It's actually kind of scary. But also just I loved the look of, I wanted, if I was gonna have natural wood cabinets, I wanted a different material on the floors. And so there was this day, I remember like the day, because it comes in a huge pallet and you have to carry, you've seen all my stairs.
Yes.
You have to carry each individual stone down. My poor contractors, that poor team. And then I was so obsessive, like I literally stayed here after they were gone and was like moving, like laying them out. And at some point, it fills the whole room, so you're like inching along the side because you can't step on them, and you're like, and you're carrying these like heavy heavy stones.
I mean, they're massive.
But yeah, I just wanted the color pattern to feel really organic, and you know, it's really easy to go down a rabbit hole with that and just endlessly be playing Tetris.
Yes.
But I had so much fun with this, and it's one of my favorite features still. I just love these floors.
I love that you also added the beams. I didn't think that those were, I didn't think in my head, they just seemed so fitting for this home. So, and I love that when you're able to add something that seems like it was original, but it's not.
And it's really, these beams were a trial, and they were 100% worth it. But my dad, so I went to this place in Sonoma County, Black's Farmwood, that they carry real beams. Like, these are from, you know, an old barn, I think, like in Canada.
Wow.
And they also make, you know, the custom box beams. And the price difference is really crazy. Like, it's something like, for a box beam, it's like 3 times, 4 times the price of like a standard, just like a beam.
Wow.
Because they're so much lighter, and you can just kind of like fit them over, you know, a joist, and like, you know, nail them in, and then they're fine. Versus these things are 1,000 pounds. They're so heavy. And I remember, you know, I was with my dad and we were talking, and he was like, you know what? I think I can just chisel them out. Like, let's just get the real beams, and I'll just like hollow them out. And I was like, you know, my dad's, you know, in his 60s. I was thinking like, are you sure? Like, this is a little crazy. Like, and he was like, yeah, just have them delivered to my house. And I remember like the delivery day where he sent me this photo where he was like, I immediately regret this decision.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what are we gonna do? But he did it. He took over like the course of like 2 weeks, he hand chiseled. Like, he had them on, you know, a sawhorse, like outside on his front yard, just like chiseling out these things. And I felt so bad, and I kept on trying to find help for him. Like, one fell on his thumb, and he had to go get stitches. Like, it was just one of those things where I was like, I should never have let him tell me to do this. But like, every time I look at these beams, I'm like, my dad loves me.
But that's so, I love that. I love when you can point at things in your home and think, you know, my dad really put blood, sweat, and tears into this.
Oh my gosh, yes he did. So yeah, and then, you know, driving them from Sebastopol to here, lifting them, putting them up, securing them, all of that, it was a huge undertaking, but it would be so weird without them now. Like, in my head, I can't even imagine this kitchen without them.
Yeah, no, they add so much character. I love it.
One thing I love about this house is the way that it's kind of pushed forward on the hill, so we don't have a neighbors immediately here, and then our sweet neighbors we see a little bit over there, but like, you get the full view, and then you get to look out, and we have this gorgeous view of the hillside.
Amazing.
But, you know, I laugh because when I named my Instagram Enchanted Berkeley, like, it was like a whimsical choice, and it was pretty flippant, but now that I think about it, I'm like, this house is like kind of all of the castles from all of my weird childhood, like, songs and books, and like Castle on a Cloud. Like, every time I look out, I'm like, we're in the clouds, you know? And like, the Enchanted Castle, like, all of those things, it's so silly, and I know it's kind of weird to call your own house a castle, but it does really feel like we're kind of floating a little bit, like, above the trees. Well, and the funny thing about this house is, you know, when I talk about storybooks and stuff, the previous owner actually is a children's book illustrator, and his father was the illustrator for Goodnight Moon. So this house kind of has this really beautiful history of, you know, whimsy and, you know, fairy tale aspect. So I thought that was a really cool feature.
That's amazing. I would love for you to tell me a bit about this side.
Sure.
Because you have lots of neutrals in here.
Yeah.
And then you've got your pop of color. And I know there's a reason for it.
So, yeah, I mean, initially, this, you know, if I didn't have children, this would probably be a child, this would probably be very different looking. But, so one of the things that I definitely knew I wanted was, we don't have a playroom, because there's just, like, I wanted to keep our guest room. And I also really like kind of having the childcare and our lives be together. I don't want to be like in a separate room. I want to have my sink, and I want to have my drinks, and, you know, all my stuff. And so we kind of, as he got bigger and he was walking, we decided like, okay, this is gonna be his space. And so this used to have booze all the way down. Obviously with a child, that's not gonna work out. As soon as he was like reaching for things, we were like, oh, okay. So this became his book nook. So now it's like, we usually have like a little pad here and he can little plop down and pull out his books. And then, the upper half gets to be the adult half. And as he gets taller, he'll probably take over the whole thing with his own books and stuff. But for now, this works really great. And, when we first lived here, I had all of these, people are gonna roll their eyes, but I had all of these facing this way. And my husband almost killed me because I was like, I just don't want to see all of the color. It's just too much. And when you add children's books in, you really just have to embrace color. So this has been a journey for me.
Yes, good. It's laying down your life for the sake of your child. The color. I love it. Yeah, I was saying before, like, who has a book nook in their kitchen, but that's so unique and so I love, and we'll see more of that throughout your home, how you thoughtfully incorporated your son into the design of this home and how you set up his little spots. So I'm excited to show more of that.
Yeah, I think it's a process. Like as I was a childless person when we moved in, we were able to make things very sparse and minimal and Instagrammable. And I think when you have a child, there's kind of a compromise that starts to come where you realize, like, for my quality of life and for my joy and for his joy, like what do I need to do and how do I adjust? So that's been a really cool process and like a cool learning experience as a designer.
I'd love to talk about the stove because it's amazing.
Sure, yeah.
And I want to know if you love this stove or
I love this stove.
Okay.
Well, okay, I should say Scott loves this stove. Scott, I am not a cook. I wish I was. I'm really good at toasting a bagel and making tea. But Scott's an incredible cook. He makes an amazing bolognese, and he loves to get really creative when he does cook like big meals. So we knew when we were talking about the design of this kitchen, we were looking at different kinds of ranges, and obviously I loved this because it's just the conchas are beautiful.
Yeah.
But he really, really like thought this would be an amazing thing to cook on, and it turns out it very, very much is. Wow. He loves it. It gets hot really fast. Yeah. You can configure the top to like whatever you want to do. So he had like the French cooktop, and this is a little griddle.
Wow.
And what I also like about this is that it's a little bit childproof, and that you have to like physically push these in to turn the burners on. And so my kid can't really, get into this, or it's a little easier to have him kind of bopping around and not worry. I like how everything kind of the brasses tie in, and when I got these knobs, I actually held them up to this. There was a lot of like, do they all match?
Yeah. I love how it's so, the use of natural materials in your home. You've got the stone floors, you've got the plaster walls, the wood beams, it's all just flows.
And I like how the range in all of the neutral calm tones is kind of like this nice, bold, like dark moment that kind of just, it helps the room feel have a little more contrast versus like so much beige.
Definitely, no, I love that. So what did you call this?
I call it the snug, and I think actually one of my followers was one of the first people to call it that, and I was like, you're right, it is a snug. So now it's the snug.
That's so cute.
So this was actually an extension that the previous owners added on to the house. God bless them, because it is so amazing. It feels almost like a solarium because of like these huge windows.
Yeah.
There was like a really big cabinet right here that they had. I think it was like their audio cabinet. So we took that out, and I really wanted like a seating area in the kitchen because I feel like all of us gravitate. We all live in the kitchen, everyone wants to hang out, and so. It was kind of like, do we do a dining nook? What do we do? And I just ended up putting like a cozy little couch and chairs. And this is actually a TV. This is our little frame TV. So having this little snug area is so cozy. It's awesome to like you know, my kid can go grab a book and we can get on the couch and we can read. And we don't have to go all the way down to the living room, because one of the things about this house is it's many tiers because of the spiral staircase. So the living room is actually on a completely different level. So it's nice to have like a mini living room where we can kind of like immediately come and snuggle and get cozy. I think we all live in our kitchens. It's the cozy, magical gathering space. So like my intention was, let's make this as cozy and inviting and, you know, lots of seating for everyone and just basically a great place to gather. So
beautiful.
Yeah. These chairs have come with me to multiple locations, and they were in my parents' house when I was a kid. There's like coffee stains on this.
Oh my gosh.
There's like nail polish that I spilled when I was 13. And in my Victorian apartment in San Francisco, these were in a stripe. And then when they came here, I had them recovered in this kind of pretty sagey linen. So I think they're just such a great shape, and I like how they're kind of petite but still very comfy. And so I can't replace these chairs. I think they're so great.
And it's special. It's like something that you've carried with you in different homes.
Yeah.
And the light in here, wow, it's just beautiful. All right, why don't you take us into your dining room now?
Okay. Should we open?
Yeah, let's open. Wow.
Hello, world.
Wow. You have the whole view of, I mean, I don't even know. That's San Francisco.
So that's the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, there it is. Yes.
Yeah, and then you can see San Francisco, and then over here is Oakland, and then over here is like Mill Valley Marin area.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a pretty big view. Yeah, it's cool.
What a gift to be able to look out and see all of that.
Thanks.
And yet still feel so enclosed and cozy.
Yeah, it feels really private, but also kind of like, after living in San Francisco for 10 years, it's nice to be able to look out and just be like, hi,
Yeah.
I love you.
I miss you.
And we get all of the delicious fog, and like, not all of it, it's kind of a nice balance. We're not like bathed in fog all the time, but we get the sea air and like the kind of that soft breeze. I love the air in Berkeley. It's so beautiful.
Wow.
Well, the dining room's been funny because it's kind of like a hybrid playroom dining room for my child and us. So when we started, we just had, you know, this gorgeous rug that I sourced. This is Heirlooms, I think, is where I got this rug. And then this pretty Elsie Green table, and I've had various chairs through the years, but I really like these right now. But this setup was the setup. Like, we had this table, and these have leaves that extend, so when we have lots of people, they can come and all fit. We hosted a little Thanksgiving recently, and that was really fun because we could like bend it and like put a bunch of people, and Jack was in his high chair, and it was really cute. But now that he's so big, he really needs space to run around and play, and he kind of needs more stuff, and he's really into coloring, and so that's why we have his little art station here. Like, it's become kind of a hybrid. This is what we were talking about, where like sometimes you just have to let things go, and it can't all be like perfectly pretty like magazine all the time. So while this is beautiful, it's also extremely helpful as storage for like his diaper stuff and his toys and like what have you. And then we've got his little tent over here where he can play and like get in here, and I can throw all his toys in there too. But it's really lovely having a space where, like, while I'm cooking or doing dishes or whatever, cooking, she says in quotes,
Toasting a bagel.
he like over here in his tent, or over there at his art station, or over there reading, or what he's usually doing, which is hitting golf balls that literally fly over our kitchen island. He's that good now. This is my life all day long.
He's like so confident in it too.
Do you want to do more? Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Gonna do it.
Whoa!
He's in heaven. He loves an audience.
Wow.
I'm just looking out too. I imagine it's so nice you have this opening to the living room. So
really
even when
nice.
people are there, you can come over here and say, hey guys, how's it going? You can hang
this
out.
balcony is a hilarious feature. Like, we were laughing when we were first looking at it that people could like stand up here and do like soliloquies, like,
Oh,
to
yes.
be, like, like just like perform
I love
the room down below. But,
Oh my gosh.
it really does feel so nice to even though the way that this house is so like there's like little tiers to it, it allows us to kind of feel like it's still connected. I think this room's a good example of like a blend of vintage and new. So we've got this is from my friend Bramble Hill, who curates antiques, and so this is an old pine. This is a vintage little painting I got on Etsy, and I love it. Actually, no, I got this from Joliet. I just talked about this.
Yeah.
I got it on Joliet, and I love it so much. And then, the chairs are new. The table's reclaimed but new. So kind of like, doing that little blend and then adding in organic textures to kind of tie it into the mood of the kitchen was kind of like a fun way to play with decor. And then of course I love this sagey green antique rug. To the living room. Yay!
Wow. Okay, but before we talk about the living room, we need to talk about the staircase because it's like the center. It just adds magic to your home.
Yeah, I mean, these stairs were like one of the main reasons why I fell in love with this house. It's so romantic. They're so spirally and fun. The style of the stair, I feel like it's so hard to find now. It's like hard to reproduce this, and it felt so intentional. And if you actually go stand and look up, you can see that it looks like a shell. But it kind of makes there's so much going around on the internet about like romanticizing your life, but it really does. Like coming down and up these stairs and having them be like the main thoroughfare of our home and our lives. It's like, it just really makes everything feel very romantic and fun. So
I know. I walked in, you had your gorgeous long dress, and you're like, come on in, like prancing through it. I'm like, you're literally a princess in your castle.
Or a witch in my black dress. But yeah.
Oh my god.
We hope you enjoyed part 1 of Brodie's home tour. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to catch part 2 coming next week. We have so much more to show you. And if you want to watch the extended cut of this tour right now, you can join our membership at the link in our description and do just that. All the information is down below. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to let us know your favorite moments in the comments, and we'll see you for part 2 next week. Ciao.